We now bring in CBS Sports basketball analyst Noah Buono as we got another look at Bronny James in Summer League action, perhaps for the helpers side. I mean, he ended the night helping the other team instead with 8 turnovers, but he did turn things around there in the second half, finishing his day with a team-high 18 points, coming in the second half to go along with 5 assists and 28 minutes of play. Now, we've gotten a relatively good sample size, I would say, over the last 2 weeks of Bronny James, but how would you assess what you've seen out of him thus far?
I love what I've seen. I know he had a rough game 1 in the spotlight game versus Cooper Flagg, but since then he's really just kind of gotten to the way he was playing in the G League during the season. Like, especially tonight, a tale of 2 halves, 1 field goal attempt, 6 turnovers. You're like, what is he doing out there? Well, he was indecisive. When Bronny James puts his mind to, I'm going to be decisive, I know what I want out of each possession. You see the runners in transition, you see the in and out crossover downhill, he gets an and one, he scores over a 270-pound Kenneth Lofton Jr. Like, those are all decisive decisions on his end that turned it around and made it an 18-point second half. But honestly, if you look at some of those 8 turnovers, they weren't all his fault. If you're driving the elbow and your guy on the wing, defender, pulls over and you don't drift to the corner, that's on Dalton Connect, not on Bronny James, because he put the pass where it needed to be in the corner. So there's a couple instances where he's maybe forcing the issue, but the playmaking that we've seen, the confidence that he's continuously kind of building on, especially from that G League season where he averaged 22 a game, I'm impressed. I've always been impressed. Anybody with the same genes as LeBron James, I'm kind of sold on. So I just think it's really natural progression that we've seen from him from year 1 now headed into year 2.
Yeah, I think it's maybe not totally fair how we're looking at those 8 turnovers. Yeah, it sounds a little drastic when you're looking at him, especially 6 there in that first half, but not necessarily all his fault. But we did get to see him being a little bit more aggressive when he's going to the rim, a little bit more decisive there. But now I want to move to the Trailblazers number 16 pick, Hansen. I mean, he's received a lot of praise so far in his summer league performances. Finished his night with 8 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. But how do you project his rookie year just playing out in Portland?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have his ebbs and flows, but it actually scares me how good offensively Hansen is. Like, it's actually mind-boggling. And I know if you watched him at the Combine, we saw some glimpses, but if you weren't grinding Hansen tape like from the CBA before the draft, then you were probably just as surprised as everybody when he actually got picked in the first round, 2 picks outside the lottery. And once I watched a couple Summer League games, I started to understand what the Blazers front office was looking at. You draft Donovan Clingan last year, who is a contrast to Hansen, because Clingan is this defensive anchor, interior presence, and Hansen, you can run your offense through him. So when you group together this young Blazers squad, and it's Hansen and Scoot Henderson and an old Drew Holiday, and hopefully Damian Lillard comes back next year after that signing, and then you have this defensive side of your team with Toumani Camara and Donovan Clingan, I'm scared of the Portland Trailblazers in the next 5 years. That's just how I feel, and I think that Hansen really has a chance to be one of the bigger steals of this draft. I absolutely love him. Like, I can't say enough good things about him on the court, off the court. Like, couldn't be higher on him. And I love that the Blazers just surprised everybody and took him at 16th. And he's going to show people consistently. He's going to have things he's going to need to work on, his strength, his power, understanding his post catches. He needs to have a sturdier base and things of that nature. But I think the pick is a home run.
Absolutely. I think I like what you put, that when you look at the Blazers in the next 5 years, this isn't a team, maybe not right now is that time, but certainly over the next few years, you're going to really see this youth take over for that team. But I want to move along now to Con Knipple, who he started to receive like a little bit of criticism, I'd say, earlier on in Summer League action, but slowly silencing those critics, putting up yet another strong performance. He tied for the team lead in points and assists on Thursday night in the Hornets' eventual win. But how do you just define the progress that we've seen from that number 4 pick?
Yeah, I don't buy into criticizing a top 5 draft pick's Summer League play. I think it's absolutely ridiculous if there's, any conclusions drawn based on, especially the first game. Yeah, he played bad. He sat out the second one. But the last 2 games, he showed you why they drafted him 4th. And you might make the argument that Trey Johnson and Ace Bailey were still on the board when the Hornets took him at 4. But I think what the Hornets did was draft a need. And when you look at Con Knipple on the court, off the court, like the characteristics, the attitude, the positive energy that he's going to bring, the maturity he's going to bring to this Hornets locker room, major bonus. And then you add in the fact that he's really a lockdown, knockdown shooter, spaces the floor, can be a good secondary creator. If LaMelo Ball gets 4 fouls early in the third quarter, you're going to look to Con Knipple to generate you some offense. And he can do that. We watched him do it in the ACC tournament when Cooper Flagg went down. Like, he has a knack to him that I think just with his smart IQ, his ability to play make, and just the shooting ability is such. When you're good at one thing, like he is good at, with shooting the basketball, it's going to take you so far in the NBA if you're a specialist. And he might end up just being a Kyle Korver level player where he's just a knockdown shooter on the ball, off screens. And that would be okay for a team in the Hornets that employs LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, who are going to dominate a lot of the basketball.
Absolutely. Well, I want to move on to maybe his teammate and another player at the top of the draft, because we didn't get to see much of number 1 and number 2 overall picks, Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper, in the Summer League, as both were shut down for the rest of summer action. But now I just want to get your expectations. We look at both of these players. We look at what we saw from their college year. Look at what their potential is here in the pros. What is your expectations just out of their respective rookie seasons?
Yeah, I mean, number one, I'm super excited to watch both of them because if you remember on February 2nd, the Dallas Mavericks picked up their perfectly fine operating iPhone and they whipped it at the concrete and shattered their entire organization by trading generational superstar Luka Doncic. But then on May 12th, somebody, an anonymous person, shipped them a brand new iPhone that they were able to unbox, brand new. You know that feeling when you unbox a new iPhone? It's like, oh, wow, shiny, good, clean, fresh. Like, the Dallas Mavericks have a fresh start because of Cooper Flagg. I am just concerned what his role is going to be, because he's not going to a 20-win team the previous year where he's just going to be the focal point. And then you look at Dylan Harper, and it's like, oh, he's going to play alongside De'Aaron Fox. He might be backing him up. He might not start from day one the way he normally would when you're the second overall pick. If you want to use my iPhone analogy, the Spurs, the back of their phone was cracked, but their screen was fine. They've done a nice job slowly building this roster back up, and their phone is repaired. They're unboxing a new iPhone too. But I just don't know overall if these two guys are going to have this massive jump from year one that we saw Stephon Castle have last year with San Antonio, playing on a bad San Antonio team, or a LeBron James back in 2003 who plays on a bad Cleveland Cavaliers team and everything's about him. That's not what it's going to be like for Cooper Flagg going into this season, because he's playing alongside Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson. Like, those are 6 combined NBA championships. I'm not so certain he is going to be able to fill a massive. He's going to be a huge piece, but it's going to be different how they use him than how they would traditionally use a number 1 overall pick that's playing for a bad team. Because both those teams, the Mavs are going to be competing for a top 4 spot in the West, and the Spurs are going to be competing for a top 8 spot. So it's really interesting to see the situations they're both being drafted into, but I have nothing but confidence that they will figure it out.
Noah, as somebody who is regular at dropping their iPhone, I really appreciate the analogies, because you're absolutely right. Still plenty of questions when you're looking at both of these young stars, but not too much longer. We'll have to wait to get some answers. Noah, as always, thank you so much for stopping by with that insight. Well, it's no surprise here, but Cooper Flagg, the runaway favorite to win NBA Rookie of the Year. If you're looking for some value, he's followed by Wizards number 6 overall pick Trey Johnson at plus 950. Meanwhile, Spurs Dylan Harper and Jazz Ace Bailey rounding out the top 4 shortest odds to win the honor at plus 1,000.